Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to our virtual summit. We are celebrating Black Children's Book Week. I am your host today, you all. My name is Allison G. Thompson. And I just want to say hello. How are y'all doing? And welcome to you all who are going to be watching the replay later. And so, just our mission here at the Green Line Creative, we are here to amplify the Black voice and to hold space for Black protagonists. I am the owner and head creator here, so I'm super excited. Just a little bit about Black Children's Book Week. It's a global celebration of Black children and the people who ensure Black children are represented in children's books and other children's media. This year is the second anniversary of the celebration, and we are super, super, super excited to be a part. We have the stamp of approval, and we are one of the official Black Children's Book Week events. So I'm super excited about that. Today we have an amazing guest, you all. Her name is Candace Okin, and I'm going to read a little bit about Candace. So Candace Okin began her journey as a writer at the age of 4 when she wrote and published her first book. Captivated by the magic of words and storytelling, she honed her skills by writing short stories and award-winning poetry throughout her childhood. A Dallas native, she moved to Houston to attend college. She established herself there professionally after earning a degree in broadcast journalism from Texas Southern University. A few years later, she received her master's degree in psychology from Houston Baptist University. Choosing to utilize a more technical, structural writing style professionally, Candace has crafted an impressive and versatile writing portfolio, which includes marketing, public relations, scripting, internal and external communications, stories on behalf of others, and grant writing. A proficiency she used to mass more than $5.5 million in funding for dozens of nonprofit organizations across the country. In 2020, she drew upon her creative roots to write and publish Mason Makes Money, a children's book which journeys its readers through fundamental concepts of entrepreneurship and money management. Her subsequent work, Joseph the Great, was released in 2022 and is a multi-purpose work of historical fiction designed to introduce cultural events and characters in Black history to its readers while teaching healthy coping skills. Candace employs her creative abilities to help readers use practical life skills in the face of obstacles. Her goal is not only to educate readers, but to encourage their natural sense of wonder and enhance their self worth through the arts. As an adjunct to Mason Makes Money, Candace created Mason Makes Money Fund, a nonprofit organization which teaches entrepreneurial education, money management, and provides grant funds to kid entrepreneurs 3 times a year. As of 2020, Mason Makes Money Fund has provided grants to 3 kid entrepreneurs between the ages of 7 and 13 and has engaged nearly 100 youth by way of entrepreneur and literacy based programs. Candace continues to use the written word to inspire, educate, entertain, and to assist others. She enjoys engaging with the community around books, literacy, philanthropy, and authorship. You can expect more community engagement, and you can expect more community engagement, literature, and other remarkable and meaningful content from Candace in the years to come. And one of Candace's favorite quotes is, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." And this is one is by Henry Ford. Y'all, welcome, welcome, Candace Okin. Woo! Hi, Candace.
Hi, how are you?
We are doing great. We're doing great. I cannot wait to dive into you. Girl, you are doing it. Like you are out here doing your thing. And I'm like, it's just amazing that you are doing it to help other people. Like, I think it's good to know that, when people are, booked and busy, it's like, okay, you booked and busy, but what you doing? Like, are you helping people? So I love it. I
Thank
love
you.
it.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So we are going to dive right into the conversation. So the topic today, we are talking about entrepreneurship. So how do you define entrepreneurship and what does it look like for you?
Entrepreneurship is just owning and operating your own business. It's and also employing your creativity, your own uniqueness, and using it to better others. To impact others.
Yeah.
So that's how I define entrepreneurship.
Awesome. So in your bio, we read that you have degrees in broadcast journalism and psychology. So how did your formal education teach you about entrepreneurship, or did it?
I think to a certain degree, yes. The journalism, I've used that to do several like forms of writing for myself. So just being able to have that degree and being able to have honed that skill through that degree has enabled me to be able to branch out and offer various writing services for other people and for other organizations. With my psychology degree, I feel more than anything that really helped me to understand people. And so, which is always, what you need. You definitely need that in entrepreneurship, because as like anything else, entrepreneurship is about relationships. It's about building relationships. It's about solving problems. And so it's incredibly important that you understand your customer, the person that, whose problem that you're trying to solve, so that you can help them to solve that problem in the most efficient and, in proper manner.
Awesome. I love that. I also have a background in psychology, so it definitely helps to understand people. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. So this week we are celebrating Black Children's Book Week. Woo! It's a global celebration of Black children and the people who ensure Black children are represented in books and other children's media. So tell us more about your books, Joseph the Great, Mason Makes Money, and I am my own boss. Tell us more about that.
Yes, I'm so excited about that. So Mason Makes Money, that's my first book baby. It was published in 2020. And the premise of that is, little boy wants to help a classmate of his. And in the process of doing that, he starts a dog washing business. And so he's having to understand what it is to own and run his own business and how to manage his money. And the purpose of that was to showcase entrepreneurship as a viable career path. At the time I had a son. I now have a daughter, but at the time I just had a son, and I thought it was just incredibly important. I felt as a parent and just as someone that he looks to for guidance, it's incredibly important that that I show him what his options are. If he tells me that he wants to go to college, I'm going to back him 100%. But if he tells me he wants to open a business, I'm going to back him 100%. And I think a thing that I really, more than anything, wanted to do was just to showcase that he has options and not to railroad him toward any one option that I might think that, I want him to do, or whatever the case is. I really want to allow his own personality and what he wants in his life to shine through. And as his parent, I wanted to be able to be the gateway to that experience for him. So Joseph the Great, I read a wonderful book by Isabel Wilkerson named The Warmth of Other Suns. And it talked about the Great Migration, where, upward of 6 million African Americans moved from parts of the South to the Midwest, the North, and the West Coast for better economic, social, and educational opportunities for themselves and their families. And I thought, number one, like, how courageous these people must have been. They left in the middle of the night, left everything that they knew. I mean, for all intents and purposes, African Americans made we're like 90% of the South before then. So that was literally all that we knew. We've been here since we've been here.
Right.
So, and they dropped everything. They migrated. They were migrants in their own country. They were seeking refuge in their own country, in other parts of the country. And I thought, I wonder what that story must have been like. Like, what must that journey? What was that journey like for a child?
Yeah.
And we're talking about, that started like right around the time the First World War. So we're talking about like 1919, 1920.
Yeah.
And I would assume that was probably a generation of like kids are like, you just gonna get in on this train and be quiet, But I really wanted I wanted a child to experience that, to understand the enormity of that historic event in Black history. And I wanted to tell it from the perspective of a child so that it could be relatable and digestible for a child.
Yeah.
And, as an adult, that must have been an incredibly tumultuous journey to have had to make. So I would assume the same would be for a child. And so, in addition to showcasing Black history, I wanted to show kids, readers, that, they're going to be hard times. Life, sometimes comes with hard times, but it's okay. And you can get through it. You can get it through it in healthy ways.
Yeah.
Here's one way to do that. So
awesome.
Yeah. So that was the premise of Joseph the Great. And then, I am my own boss. I'm so excited.
And that's a new release. Like
new
like
release.
the other day release.
Yes, it's not really out yet. It's up for pre-order right now. We sell on my website. But it's a workbook for kid entrepreneurs or for kids who are thinking about wanting to open a business. And it goes through business planning, budgeting, money management. It goes through customer service. It really just is a kind of like a foundational book where kids who either already own and operate their business or they're thinking about it can pick it up and they can learn as they go. They can always use it as a reference. I've tried to make it so that no matter where you are in your journey, you can always go back to that book to reference, whatever it is that you need to reference. And so I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to get it into the hands of the people and see what they, what they say.
Awesome. I love that. I love all of that. I was conversing with someone the other day and they asked about like the Great Migration and the Civil Rights Movement. They were like, why didn't our parents and grandparents and great grandparents and uncles talk about that time? Like, why don't we hear stories or sit around the kitchen table? And I was like, well, having courage is really hard. Like, being courageous is not an easy task. So no one wants to talk about hard times. They want to talk about like where they are now. But it's also good to be mindful that, it takes struggle sometimes to get to where we want to go, or it takes, just a little, like, you have to go through some things to get to where you want to be. But having courage is not easy.
Absolutely. And also, I would assume that perhaps some of them were doing it as a method of protection. I watched a show not too long ago about the Tulsa Massacre, where the generation now, per this show, they don't know a whole lot about, because I think that they're trying to look up the graves, the mass unmarked graves, and it was really a task to find, and they were going based on hearsay because the generation that came from that did not talk about it.
Right.
They did not talk about it at all, and I would assume for a lot of them it was traumatic, of course, and then I would also assume that they were using it as like silence as a method of protection as well. So I mean, it's unfortunate that, that this history isn't passed down the way that perhaps it should be. But given the history, I can understand.
Yeah.
I can understand.
Absolutely. So you also created the Mason Makes Money Fund. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes. So my idea was, for me, I want to be able to create books that really do impact kids. And for me, that kind of looked like coming from a philanthropic background.
Mm.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of look like taking those words and actually doing something with them,
Mm-hmm.
doing something with them for the community, not just telling a story, but allowing that story to inspire the reader so that they create their own story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
Mason Makes Money Fund was it was like a natural, it was like naturally like a natural progression of that story. And so my first idea was to take the funds that were generated from the book sales and give it to kid entrepreneurs. But as I saw, the kids that we were engaging with, their parents were like, well, what else is there? What other resources do you have? What other classes do you do? And I'm like, well, it was very exciting because obviously it's a need. And I was incredibly excited to be able to have been prompted by that, by that need by, parents and other community residents. Right. But it kind of organically grew from there. And so what was first just an idea of giving money to kid entrepreneurs has now become an organization that gives money to kid entrepreneurs and also gives them free entrepreneurial education. So once every other month, we do a virtual session where kids all across the country can come and network. Awesome. They listen to a speaker that comes who speaks about various business or entrepreneurial topic. And so we're gonna continue to to see how else it grows.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that. So it's not just for Texas residents; it's for individuals in the United States, right?
Yes. Okay. So the 3 kid entrepreneurs who won the award last year, none of them were in Texas.
Wow.
None of them. One was in Virginia, one was in Georgia, and one was in California. So absolutely not. The limitless technology. That's the
beauty of social media. Like, y'all, it's a tool. But that's awesome that they have now that the push and the resources to really go forth and pursue their dreams. Like a lot of people, I think even adults, like we have a dream, but it's like, okay, this dream gonna cost more than what I see in my bank account. But to have that at an early age, it's like, the resources are there, the support is there. So like, there's nothing that can stop me from pursuing my dream. That is awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's perhaps one of the biggest things that I really want Mason Makes Money Fund to like I want to resonate with people, with kids, is if you have a dream and you're all in, we're all in too.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. So why should we have more conversations around entrepreneurship and money management with our Black children?
So entrepreneurship, beyond it just being a viable career path, it teaches so many critical skills that they'll need as adults. It teaches critical thinking skills. It teaches innovation. It teaches obviously like mathematical comprehension. It teaches so much that they can use in any career path.
Yeah.
So responsibility, it just teaches so much. But also, our generation and the generations to, like, everything is moving at such a rapid rate.
Yeah.
And things are changing so fast, so furiously that what you might be able to do now, you may not be able to do in the next 10 years. I know for our parents could go to college and get a 4-year degree and come out and do pretty well for themselves. That's not necessarily the case for our generation. So who's to say what's going to be the case for the generations to follow?
Right.
But one thing that our parents always said was that they can't never take education from you.
Yeah.
And so, and your skill set, they can never take that from you. So, just wanting to showcase that entrepreneurship is a viable career path,
Mm-hmm.
that it is possible. It's not, something only Steve Jobs can do.
Right. Right.
It's attainable, it's possible, and it's right here for you. And then also to equip them and to get them ready for a global workforce, where anything is possible,
Yeah.
and who knows what is going to happen next. So that's I feel a reason why we should highlight entrepreneurship to Black children.
Yeah.
Money management.
Talk about it, Candace. Talk.
We have the strongest buying power of any subgroup in the United States. Black people do.
Yes.
But we have generationally, like our generational wealth is the weakest. It is the smallest. Yes, a part of that is, having to, as a community, as a collective community, a part of that is, several generations of like not having the forward movement that we needed to. But also some of it is the lack of education around it, the lack of talk around it. I feel like, in my opinion, from what I've seen, a lot of people feel as though they can't talk about it if they haven't accomplished, something themselves. If I'm not a millionaire, how can I teach somebody else to be a millionaire? If I have all this debt, how can I teach my kids to not have a lot of debt? But that's the perfect reason.
Right.
Excuse me. So many of us are, just trying to get, just trying to get to just trying to survive, that we're not really paying attention or putting enough detail and focus on what our kids, like what we teach our kids about that. Because what happens is our kids are watching us just trying to survive, and they absorb that. And then they go do it. Probably subconsciously, don't even know that they're doing it. It's what they've seen, so that it's what they replicate.
Yeah.
And if we're not talking about it, if there's no conversation around it, if there's no education around it, it's just doomed to continue to repeat itself.
Yeah.
But we can change it.
Yeah.
We can change it, and our mistakes are fantastic lessons. Yes. Mason Makes Money. I actually wrote it in 2019 after I had lost my job, and I was going through a very difficult financial situation within my household.
Yeah.
And a lot of which was by my own doing, financially. And even though my son, I think at the time, was like 1 or 2 years old, very, very young, I still knew that he was watching me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to rise to that time as best as I could. And then to take what I had learned and put it into a digestible format for him, so that he could absorb that and then hopefully learn from my mistakes. Because why do we go through mistakes? Do we just go through mistakes just to go through them?
If there's no lesson to be learned. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
So money management is incredibly important because it teaches us how to be. It's not only for us. First of all, it's not only for us. It's for our kids' kids.
Yeah.
And it's for us as a global economy, not a global economy, a communal economy for all of us. And so it's incredibly important.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. And the beauty about having it in a book form is that it'll last forever.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So Candace, where can we keep up with you and the Mason Makes Money Fund and all the good work that you're doing with your books and your nonprofit?
Yes. You can keep up with me on my through my website, www.candaceokin.com. You will find our landing page for the nonprofit on my website, candaceokin.com/MMMF. But we're actually about to launch our own platform. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
Yes, in the weeks to come, you can reach us at macemoneyfund.org. So
Awesome. Very good. And I always, whenever Candace is like, hey, y'all, we about to give out this money, best believe I'm sharing it. So even if you don't catch it, it's going to be on one of our pages. So yeah, when she's like, hey, y'all, we're going through the next round, I'm like, okay, y'all, get this money. All right. No excuses, especially for your children. Like, go ahead and set the intentions early. Like, I think a lot of times too, even as parents, we try to live vicariously through our children, but also, even if something that we didn't have, we can definitely show that to our children. Even if we didn't have those experiences, we can give that to our children. So y'all take advantage of these resources that are out there for the next generation, because that's what we're here to do, is just to grow them and to steward them. Well, Candace,
I love how you said that. I'm sorry, I just wanted I love how you said that, because I believe Black Children's Book Week is a perfect example of that. I remember going to little corners of the city in Dallas when I was a little girl, trying to find books with people on it that looked like me. Yeah. And it was a task. Yeah. And I think I probably have every book that was out there. And now we have an entire week devoted to books with Black protagonists, with positive Black protagonists on them. And it's just, that's amazing.
Yeah. To see our children just doing regular stuff like reading, doing hair, playing outside, like the world needs to see that.
Yes.
The world needs to see that. So well, hang on, Candace. Y'all, thank y'all so much for joining us for Black Children's Book Week, for our virtual summit. It has been amazing. And hang on and catch us here tomorrow. A new topic, a new interviewee, a new conversation. But celebrate with us by purchasing Black Children's Book. Purchase from indie author, y'all. Purchase from Black bookstores. Just buy Black. All right. It's Black History Book. It's Black History Month. But just support Black Children's Book Week, Black children's books in general. And we'll see y'all tomorrow.